Stop right there. Before you swipe away, I want to ask you something that might permanently change how you look at people, relationships, and power. Do you honestly believe that being a good person keeps you safe? Do you think kindness protects you from harm? That generosity automatically creates loyalty? That honesty by itself earns you respect? If your instinctive answer is yes to any of those, you've been living inside one of the most dangerous lies society has ever sold you. We're taught that goodness is a shield. But here's the brutal truth. Most of the time, it's not a shield. It's gasoline. And if you don't know how to control it, it will burn through everything you've built, your relationships, your career, your reputation, your dreams. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He watched good rulers get destroyed. He saw kind leaders lose their kingdoms. He saw generous, sincere people betrayed by the very ones they helped. And he didn't just notice it. He documented it. He studied it. He turned it into strategy. In this video, I'm going to reveal his hidden truth, the shocking cost of goodness that almost nobody talks about. By the end of this, you'll understand why your good heart might secretly be making you weak, why people don't respect your kindness, they exploit it, and most importantly, how to turn your goodness from your biggest liability into your most dangerous weapon. But let me make something crystal clear before we go any further. I'm not telling you to become evil. I'm not telling you to go out and hurt people. This is not a call to cruelty. What I'm showing you is how to be good strategically, not blindly. Because whether you like it or not, you're living in a world full of wolves. And in a world of wolves, a sheep doesn't get rewarded for being kind. A sheep gets eaten. Right now, type this affirmation in the comments. I choose strategic goodness. Say it again in your mind as you hear my voice. From today, everything changes. From today, you stop using goodness as a reflex. You start using it as a weapon. In this video, we're going to tear apart the illusion that goodness always protects you. You're going to see how it often destroys you instead, and how to flip it into a source of real power. Let's start with the first brutal truth. 1. Goodness as exposure. Think about the kindest person you know. You've got someone in mind, right? Now be honest with yourself. Are they truly respected, or are they simply the person everyone calls when they need something? Because here's the dark side nobody warns you about. Being good often makes you exposed, not protected. When you're consistently kind, constantly available, endlessly patient, people start to read you like a script. You become predictable. They know you won't fight back. They know you won't say no. They know you'll forgive, again and again and again. You stop being seen as a person. You become a resource, the office doormat, the friend who always pays, the family member who always says yes, even when it hurts them. Let me give you a real example. There was a guy I knew who was the best team manager I'd ever seen. He always helped his team. He covered their mistakes. He stayed late so they could leave early. He defended them in front of upper management. He put their needs first every single time. Guess what happened when promotion time came? They skipped him and promoted someone else. Someone less kind. Someone less nice. Someone who looked more like a leader on paper. Why? Because to most people, nice doesn't look like leadership. Nice looks like service. Nice looks like support. Nice looks like he'll keep doing this anyway, with or without the title. People don't respect your goodness by default. They exploit it by default. Think about how this shows up. When someone is always available, their time starts to feel worthless. When someone never sets boundaries, people walk right over them. When someone never shows teeth, people assume they don't have any. Your goodness starts signaling something dangerous. I can be used. I can be pushed. I won't push back. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." You've been trying to survive as a sheep, in a world built for lions and foxes, and that's why you keep getting caught in emotional traps, guilt traps, manipulation, and betrayal despite your good intentions. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I protect my energy, because that's where it starts. Not with being less good, but with being less exposed. 2. The generosity trap. Now let's go even deeper. Here's a truth that will mess with your head the first time you hear it. The more you give, the less most people value what you're giving. I know that sounds completely backwards. It feels wrong. It feels unfair. You'd think generosity builds deep loyalty. You'd think, if I'm there for people, they'll be there for me. But that's not how human psychology works. Here's what actually happens. At first, your generosity creates applause. You do something kind, and people are grateful. They praise you. They talk about how amazing you are. Do that a few more times, and something quietly shifts. Your generosity stops feeling like a gift. It becomes the default. You help once, and they're grateful. You help twice, and they're thankful. You help 10 times, and now they expect it. Your exceptional kindness becomes the baseline standard. And here's the worst part. If you ever stop, they don't remember the 10 times you said yes. They only remember the one time you said no. Suddenly, you're not generous. You're selfish. You're different now. You're cold. This is what I call the generosity trap. You give and give until giving becomes your identity, your brand, your role in everyone's life. And the very moment you try to step back, to breathe, to protect your energy, you become the villain in their story. Think about parents who always give their kids everything. At first, the kids are excited. Every new toy or gadget is a big deal. But after a while, it stops feeling special. It's just normal. The new phone? That's not a gift. That's just what mom and dad do. And when the parents finally say no, maybe to teach a lesson, maybe because money's tight, maybe just because they're tired, what happens? The kids get angry. They feel cheated. They say things like, "You're unfair," or "You never support me," conveniently erasing everything that came before. It's not just kids. Adults do it too. In friendships, you're the one who always picks up the tab. You're the one always driving, always helping people move, always being the emotional therapist. At first, they appreciate it. You're such a good friend. But over time, they just assume you'll handle it. And when you finally need something back from them, suddenly they're too busy. They forgot. They meant to, but life got in the way. Your constant generosity didn't build loyalty. It built dependency. Addiction, even. People become addicted to the benefits they get from you. And like any addict, they get angry when the supply is cut. Psychology has a name for this: hedonic adaptation. We get used to good things quickly. What once felt special becomes normal. What once felt like a gift becomes the bare minimum. So your repeated acts of kindness fade into the background. They become invisible. But that one time you say no, that's bright red in their memory. That's the moment they latch on to. That's the moment they judge you by. At work, if you always stay late, staying late becomes your job. Nobody thanks you anymore. They just expect it. But leave on time once, and suddenly you're not committed. In a relationship, if you always compromise, that becomes expected. Push back once, and you're being difficult. Machiavelli understood this dynamic. He wrote, "Benefits ought to be conferred gradually, and in that way they will taste better." In other words, Scarcity creates value. Endless abundance destroys it. So here's what I want you to write in the comments now. I give strategically, because we're not going to stop being generous. We're going to stop being predictable about it. 3. The mask of virtue. Now let's step into a truth most people are terrified to admit. Society doesn't reward actual goodness. It rewards the appearance of goodness. People judge you based on what they see, not who you really are. They don't evaluate your intentions. They evaluate your image. That means something uncomfortable but incredibly important. To maintain influence, respect, trust, and power, you must look virtuous, even when you're making hard, complicated decisions beneath the surface. Think about the most successful people you know. Do you seriously believe they climb to the top by being endlessly nice to everyone? By pleasing every person? By sacrificing themselves at every turn? No, they're not good all the time. They're strategically good. They know exactly when to smile, when to be silent, when to be generous, and when to be absolutely unshakable. In public, they show compassion. In private, they make decisions that aren't always pleasant but are necessary. They understand something crucial. The appearance of virtue carries more power than walking around trying to be pure 24/7. This does not mean being fake. It means understanding timing. Think of a doctor. A surgeon might cut you open, cause pain, leave scars, but only to save your life. Is that cruelty? Or is that a deeper, more strategic form of goodness? Sometimes real goodness doesn't look gentle. Sometimes it looks like firmness. It looks like boundaries. It looks like discipline. Real leaders understand this. Weak people don't. Weak people show their softness to the wrong people, people who don't deserve it, people who exploit it. Then they show their strength to the people they actually care about, usually out of frustration and burnout. Successful people do the opposite. They show strength to enemies. They show discipline where it matters. They show softness only to those who've earned it. Machiavelli said it best. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. People think perception is something shallow. It's not. It's the foundation of how others treat you. If people perceive you as weak, they treat you as weak. If they perceive you as strong, they respect you, even if you're gentle underneath. So here's the next affirmation you're going to drop in the comments. I control my image. You're not abandoning goodness. You're protecting it by making sure it's not wasted on people who haven't earned it. 4. The economics of power. Everything you do in life has a hidden price tag attached to it. Every time you say yes, every time you give someone your time, every time you take on someone's emotional weight, every time you put others first while neglecting yourself. There is always a cost. Most good people never learn this. They act as if their time and energy are infinite. They give until they break, and when they finally collapse emotionally, financially, mentally, they're shocked. Let's strip away the emotions and look at the math. Your time is finite. Your mental energy is finite. Your ability to care is finite. Your resources, money, attention, focus are finite. If you pour endlessly into others, there will eventually be nothing left for your own growth, your own goals, your own dreams. And ironically, when you reach that empty point, you become less capable of helping anyone, not even the people you truly want to help. Think of airplane safety instructions. They always tell you, put your oxygen mask on first before assisting anyone else. Why? Because if you lose consciousness trying to help someone else, now 2 people need saving instead of 1. Life works exactly the same way. When you exhaust yourself helping everyone, you eventually become someone who needs help. You become the burden, and nobody applauds you for that. Smart, strategic people know this. They guard their resources. They protect their energy. They measure where their time goes. Not because they're cold, but because they know sustainability is generosity's best friend. Let me tell you something personal. For years, I said yes to every request. Yes, I can help. Yes, I'll take it on. Yes, I'll stay late. Yes, I can fix it. I told myself I was being a good person. I thought I was doing the right thing. But here's what actually happened. I burned out. I grew resentful. I felt bitterness creeping in. I watched my own dreams get pushed aside. And the people I was helping the most? They didn't change. They didn't improve. They didn't grow. Because I was accidentally enabling them, not empowering them. And Machiavelli was right when he said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." You cannot command anything. Not your career, not your relationships, not your future. If you can't even command your own time and your own boundaries, you can't lead others if you don't lead yourself. So type this in the comments. I protect my resources, not because you're selfish, but because you're smart enough to know you matter too. 5. Strategic use of virtue. Let's clear something up once and for all. I'm not telling you to throw away honesty, generosity, mercy, or kindness. Those things are powerful, but they are only powerful when used with intention. A sword on a shelf protects no one. A sword used at the wrong time endangers everyone, but a sword used by a skilled warrior at the right moment, it can save an entire kingdom. Your goodness works the same way. When you help someone, it should be on purpose. When you're kind, it should be deliberate. When you're generous, it should move you closer to something meaningful. Here's the shift. Stop helping everyone a little. Help the right people a lot. Stop being nice to everyone. Be powerfully kind to the people who deserve it. Stop saying yes to everything. Say yes to things that truly align with who you want to be. This approach does 3 things. 1. Your kindness becomes valuable because it's no longer endless or expected. 2. You make bigger impacts because you're focused and intentional. 3. People respect you more because your yes carries weight. Think of history's most respected leaders. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't use kindness to avoid conflict. He used kindness to confront injustice. Mother Teresa didn't try to save everyone. She focused on the poorest and changed the world by going deep, not wide. These weren't nice people. They were strategically good. And you can be too. The question is simple. How? Before you say yes to anyone, ask these 3 questions. 1. Does this align with my values and goals? 2. Can I do this without draining myself? 3. Will this person appreciate and respect what I'm doing? If even one answer is no, the answer you give them should be a gentle, firm, respectful no. When you do say yes, make it count. Give your full effort. Create real value. Be memorable, not available. Machiavelli put it perfectly. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Meaning, you cannot please everyone. Sometimes doing the right thing for your future means disappointing someone in the present. And that's okay. Comment this. I choose effective kindness, because that's the new version of goodness you're stepping into. 6. The illusion of gratitude. Now let's uncover one of the most painful truths about human nature, one that almost nobody wants to accept. Gratitude has an expiration date. No matter how much you do for people, no matter how many sacrifices you make, no matter how deeply you care, there will come a moment when your kindness no longer feels like kindness to them. It becomes the baseline, the expectation, the invisible background of their life. This is the illusion of gratitude. Let's break it down simply. The first time you do a favor, people appreciate it. The second time, they're thankful. The third time, they start assuming you'll help. By the 10th time, they don't even notice it. It's just what you do. And the moment you stop, they don't remember everything you did for them before. They only remember the one thing you didn't do. Imagine your neighbor asks you to help them move. The first time, they're overflowing with gratitude. 6 months later, they need help again. They're still thankful, but it's muted. A third move? They don't feel lucky. You've simply become the friend with the truck. A fourth move? They don't even ask. They just expect you to show up. And if you can't, suddenly you're the bad guy. Suddenly you're inconsistent, selfish, or different now. This is not evil. It's not malicious. It's human psychology. We adapt to good things quickly. We normalize whatever becomes routine. We expect whatever we receive often. This happens everywhere. In relationships, the one who always compromises becomes the one expected to compromise. And when they finally hold their ground, they're cold or difficult. At work, the one who always stays late is never applauded after the third week. They just become the person who stays late. But leave on time once. Now you're not committed. In families, the reliable one becomes the responsible one. The responsible one becomes the default. The default becomes invisible. And here's the twist. The people who appreciate you the most are often the people you help the least often. The people who take you for granted the most are usually the ones you help relentlessly. This isn't because they're bad. It's because they get used to your presence, your effort, your sacrifices. They stop feeling the weight of your yes until you give them a no. Machiavelli captured this perfectly. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. Meaning, people see what you're doing right now, but they quickly forget the 1,000 things you did before. Your past kindness becomes invisible. Your current decision, especially if it's not what they want, is what defines you. That's why boundaries are essential. That's why scarcity creates respect. That's why kindness without limitation leads to disappointment. You're not supposed to stop being kind, but you must stop being endlessly available. Drop this comment. I create lasting impact, because kindness remembered is better than kindness expected. 7. Results over intentions. Let's dive into one of the most uncomfortable truths about life, success, and human judgment. The world does not care about your intentions. It cares about your results. You might have the purest heart. You might mean well. You might genuinely want the best for everyone. But if your actions don't create the outcomes you need, people don't remember how you felt about it. History doesn't honor people who had good intentions. It honors the ones who built, changed, fought, led, and impacted. So, let me ask you something deeply honest. Would you rather be remembered as a nice person who changed nothing, or a strong person who changed something important? Most people choose nice because it feels safe. It feels comfortable. It avoids conflict. But here's the irony. Being remembered for being nice usually means being forgotten entirely. Nice people want peace in the moment. Good people want progress in the long term. Let's break that difference down. Nice people avoid conflict. Good people resolve conflict. Nice people say what others want to hear. Good people say what others need to hear. Nice people protect feelings. Good people protect futures. Nice people keep the peace. Good people create meaningful change. Sometimes real goodness doesn't feel good in the moment. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like tough love. It feels like discipline. A parent who refuses to spoil their child might look mean at the moment, but they're raising someone capable. That's goodness. A teacher who holds high standards isn't strict. They're preparing students for the real world. That's goodness. A coach who pushes you hard isn't unfair. They're bringing out your potential. That's goodness. And Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. The end justifies the means. People love to misuse this quote, but here's what it actually means. Your good intentions don't matter if they don't lead to good outcomes. People don't live in your heart. They live in the consequences of your actions. So if your kindness, your softness, your desire to be liked prevents you from achieving results that actually protect, uplift, or improve things, you're not being genuinely good. You're being comfortable. Real goodness requires courage. Real goodness requires strength. Real goodness sometimes requires doing something that will make others uncomfortable in the short term. But in the long term, that's what creates transformation. So here's your next affirmation. I focus on outcomes. Because intentional goodness is nice, but effective goodness is powerful. 8. Legacy and survival. Let's talk about something deeper than day-to-day interactions. Let's talk about what really matters, your legacy and your survival. Because here's a truth most people never realize until it's too late. History does not honor the merely good. It honors the resilient, the strategic, the ones who endured long enough to make a difference. You can probably name 5 people who changed the world, but you probably can't name 5 nice people from history. Why? Because nice people rarely leave a mark. They rarely build anything that lasts. They rarely survive the pressures required to create real change. Take Steve Jobs. He wasn't known for being pleasant. He wasn't known for being gentle. He wasn't known for making people comfortable. But he created something that changed how billions of people live. He made an impact that will last long after every nice person he irritated is forgotten. We're not talking about being cruel. We're talking about being effective. Let's make this brutally simple. The kindest people in the world cannot help anyone if they get crushed by people who take advantage of them. The most generous people cannot give anything if they give everything away too early. The most honest people cannot speak truth if they get drowned out by people who prefer lies. You must survive first. Then you can thrive. Then you can help others. Then you can build a legacy. Protecting yourself is not selfish. It is the foundation that makes generosity possible. Building yourself up is not selfish. It is what allows you to lift others. Strengthening your mind, your boundaries, your skills, that's not coldness. That's preparation. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Most people misunderstand this. He didn't mean be scary. He meant respect is more important than affection. Impact matters more than popularity. Strength matters more than comfort. Because if you must choose between being liked and being strong, choose strength. Strength gives you the power to be good when it counts. Weakness only makes you a victim, even with the best intentions. We've covered a lot, but now we're entering the final transformation. The part where everything you've learned starts connecting together. Up to this point, we've dissected the cost of blind goodness, the dangers of generosity without boundaries, the illusions of gratitude, and the gap between intentions and real-world results. Now we bring it home. This final section is about ownership, owning your goodness, owning your strength, owning your future. It's about taking back the control you've unknowingly given away. And it begins with a truth that most people ignore their entire lives. Goodness without strategy is not goodness. It is self-destruction. Let's break it down piece by piece. Goodness without boundaries is a trap. Look back at every time you've been hurt by someone you helped. Every time you were overlooked. Every time your loyalty wasn't returned. Every time someone vanished the moment you needed them. What do those moments have in common? It wasn't your lack of effort. It wasn't your lack of care. It wasn't your lack of kindness. It was your lack of boundaries. You gave without limits. You said yes without reflection. You poured out energy without checking the tank. And people responded the way most humans respond. They took more, not because they're evil, but because they assumed you were okay with giving. People don't stop you from overgiving. They rarely tell you to slow down. They don't warn you when you're sacrificing too much. Because why would they? Your overgiving benefits them. That's why you must be the one who sets the limit. The world will not do it for you. Boundaries don't make you less good. They make your goodness sustainable. The world values what it cannot easily have. Look at any area of life. Gold is valuable because it's rare. Time is valuable because it's limited. Opportunities are valuable because they're scarce. Kindness is no different. If you're always available, people stop valuing your time. If you always forgive, people stop fearing your consequences. If you always give, people stop appreciating your effort. If your goodness is constant, unconditional, and predictable, it becomes background noise. You could be pouring your entire heart into someone, and they won't feel it because they've gotten used to it. That's why strategic goodness hits harder. It stands out. It has impact. People remember it. You don't want your kindness to be expected. You want it to be felt. Strategic goodness is not manipulation. It's maturity. Let's address something important. Using goodness strategically is not manipulation. It's emotional intelligence. Manipulation is when you deceive. Strategy is when you decide. Manipulation is dishonest. Strategy is deliberate. Manipulation benefits one person. Strategy benefits everyone. Think of every great leader, mentor, parent, teacher, or coach. They all had one thing in common. They knew when to be soft and when to be firm. They didn't hand out kindness endlessly. They delivered it in the moments when it mattered most. That's why it had weight. That's why it created change. That's why people respected them. If you want your goodness to have power, you must stop distributing it like an unlimited resource and start using it like a sharpened tool. You must choose who deserves your goodness. This is the turning point. You cannot be good to everyone in the world. You cannot help everyone in your life. You cannot say yes to every request. Not because you're unwilling, but because you're human. Your goodness is too important to waste on people who don't value it. So here's the rule. Not everyone gets access to your best self. Some people get your time. Some get your advice. Some get your patience. Some get your generosity. Some get your forgiveness. But nobody gets all of you except the people who've earned it. Stop bleeding for those who wouldn't even scratch themselves for you. It's not cruel. It's balance. And from that balance comes strength. Survival always comes before legacy. If you want to build a legacy, a family, a career, a reputation, a dream, you must first survive long enough to create it. Goodness that destroys you helps no one. Goodness that drains you serves no purpose. Goodness that breaks you leaves nothing behind. You need strength. You need resilience. You need clarity. You need boundaries. Not so you can become cold, but so you can stay kind without being consumed by it. Imagine a shepherd. He protects the flock not by being soft, but by being wise, strategic, and strong. He keeps the wolves away not by smiling at them, but by standing firm, staying alert, and using strength when necessary. That is the role you must take in your own life. Be the shepherd of your kindness. Protect it. Preserve it. Direct it where it matters. That is how goodness becomes power. The final choice. You've now seen the real cost of blind goodness. You've seen how being endlessly kind can weaken you, expose you, drain you, and even erase you. but you've also seen the other side. Goodness with strategy. Goodness with boundaries. Goodness with intention. Goodness with courage. Goodness that creates results. Goodness that people remember. Goodness that builds legacy. This is the goodness that changes lives. This is the goodness that builds nations. This is the goodness that Machiavelli respected. So now the question falls to you. Will you keep being good the old way, blindly, endlessly, until it breaks you? Or will you start being good the new way, strategically, deliberately, powerfully? Will you let your goodness weaken you, or will you take control of it and turn it into strength? The answer determines everything about your future. And since you're still here, listening, absorbing, reflecting, I know which path you're ready for. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I master strategic goodness, because in a world full of wolves, you are not here to be prey. You are here to be the shepherd guiding, protecting, choosing wisely, and using your goodness not as a weakness, but as your most powerful advantage. And this is only the beginning. You've reached the final part of this journey. You've learned the hidden cost of blind goodness, the traps of endless giving, the fading nature of gratitude, and the power of strategic virtue. Now it's time to turn these lessons into action, into a new way of living that protects your energy and multiplies your influence. This final chapter is about mastery. Not mastery over others, but mastery over yourself, your boundaries, and your goodness. Because when you master that, everything else begins to fall into place. Step 1. Guard your time like it's gold. Your time is the foundation of your strength. Every request, every favor, every conversation consumes a piece of it. If you let everyone take from that time freely, you'll eventually look around and realize you've given your entire life away in small, invisible pieces. Strategic goodness starts with this simple rule. Not everyone deserves your time. Some people drain you. Some people use you. Some people only come around when they need something. Some people mistake your availability for obligation. You cannot build a powerful life if your time belongs to everyone but you. Say yes when it matters. Say no when it doesn't. Protect your time with the same seriousness you protect your future. Step 2. Pause before you say yes. Good people say yes too fast. Strategic people pause. From now on, before you agree to anything, ask yourself, 1. Does this move me closer to who I want to become? 2. Can I give without damaging myself? 3. Will this person value and respect what I'm offering? If even one answer is no, then your yes is too expensive. This pause will save your energy, your dignity, and your future. It's not hesitation, it's wisdom. Step 3. Give with precision, not by default. Blind goodness is scattered. Strategic goodness is precise. You're not meant to help everyone. You're meant to help the right people in the right way. When you give with intention, your kindness becomes powerful. It becomes memorable. It actually creates impact. You're no longer the person who always helps. You become the person whose help matters. Quality over quantity. Precision over impulse. Impact over exhaustion. Step 4. Let people feel your absence. This is one of the most important shifts you will ever make. If people never feel your absence, they will never value your presence. You don't need to disappear dramatically. You don't need to punish anyone. But you do need to create space. When you pull back, people remember what you used to give. They recognize your worth. They stop taking you for granted. They see that your energy is not endless. Absence restores value. Presence without boundaries destroys it. Sometimes, the most generous thing you can do, for yourself and for others, is to stop carrying their weight for them. Step 5. Lead yourself first. You cannot lead others until you can lead yourself. Blind goodness is chaotic. Strategic goodness is organized. Self-leadership means knowing what you stand for, what you will no longer tolerate, what drains you, what strengthens you, who deserves your energy, where your kindness is most effective. When you know yourself deeply, your goodness becomes calibrated. It's no longer reactive, it's intentional. And intentional people command respect without asking for it. Step 6. Build strength beneath your softness. People respect strength far more than endless niceness. Not cruelty, not intimidation, not fear. Strength. Strength looks like this. You say no without guilt. You set boundaries without anger. You help with clarity, not pressure. You give without losing yourself. You stay kind, but not soft in the wrong moments. Machiavelli wasn't saying, be feared to control people. He was saying that respect creates stability, and stability allows true goodness to exist. When people respect your strength, your kindness carries weight. Your generosity means something. Your boundaries are honored. Your value is felt. That is balanced power. Step 7. Choose legacy over pleasing others. At the end of your life, you won't be remembered for how many people you pleased. You'll be remembered for the impact you made. Nice people fade from memory. Effective people leave a mark. People who are endlessly agreeable rarely build anything meaningful. People who are strategically good shape relationships, communities, careers, and families. Ask yourself, do you want to be liked temporarily or respected permanently? Do you want to avoid conflict today or build something that lasts tomorrow? Do you want to feel safe or do you want to create impact? Legacy always beats likability. Always. The final transformation. Everything comes down to one defining shift. Goodness is no longer something you give away freely. Goodness is something you use with purpose. You're not here to be a doormat. You're not here to be used. You're not here to be drained dry. You're here to influence, to lead, to guide, to protect, to build, to choose wisely. From today forward, your kindness will be sharp, not soft. Your generosity will be intentional, not automatic. Your goodness will be strategic, not aimless. So declare this not as an affirmation, but as a new identity. I master strategic goodness. Because in a world full of wolves, you were never meant to be prey. You were meant to be the one who leads with strength, wisdom, and unmistakable purpose. You've seen the truth. Goodness without strategy destroys you, drains you, and blinds you. But goodness with boundaries, intention, and strength becomes one of the most powerful forces in the world. From today, you are no longer the person who gives until they break. You are the person who chooses where your energy goes, who earns your kindness, and what future you're building. Remember this, you don't need to stop being good. You need to stop being unguarded. You don't need to become cold. You need to become wise. The world doesn't reward endless softness. It rewards balanced strength. So move forward with clarity. Let your yes have meaning. Let your no have confidence. Let your goodness create impact, not exhaustion. And carry this identity with you. I master strategic goodness. Because when you combine kindness with strength, you don't just survive, you shape your entire world.